I do need to get to bed, but I wanted to share another pretty great experience. So often people at church talk about not only feeling the Spirit, but, hearing the Holy Ghost and whatnot, and I often feel like since I don't hear it the same way, that it's not as clear to me, but it can be simple promptings, and my intuition's super strong, so that's obviously from God as well. And it's not going to be heard the same way by everyone, and I do need to attribute more of time, promptings that are not, hearing something to knowing it's the same source anyway. So we were at team dinner at a Chinese restaurant, and there was leftover food, some of mine, and some other people were just leaving theirs, and I asked the waitress to pack it up, and it's weird because I really didn't think I wanted it later, but I just had this feeling someone was gonna need it, and I just felt like I should pack it up. I mean, granted, I like to save things from the garbage, being thrown out anyway, unnecessarily, but, you never know. Maybe we're gonna pass a homeless person or something. I just felt like I should, get it wrapped up. And on the walk back, we did not seem to pass anybody needing food, and I asked someone on the team, do you think anyone maybe back at the competition that didn't have a chance to get out to eat something might want it? She wasn't sure. But then when we were in line to see the show, one of our other teammates who had arrived that day had mentioned that her debit card had just expired and all she'd eaten that day was an apple. So after a moment of clicking in my brain, since I was sleep deprived, I was like, oh, would you want this? I realize some people aren't into leftovers, or maybe they don't like Chinese food or whatever, but I just asked, and she's got a very big personality, so she was like, so I guess that was a good thing, and hopefully she enjoyed it. I don't actually know, but either way, she had food that she didn't have, and, she was having trouble with her card, so what do you know? And she said something to her friend about, like, oh my gosh, you read my mind, and even the original teammate I asked told her, oh yeah, Larysa said, do you think anyone will want this? So it all worked out, and I've got to remember that the Holy Ghost talks to each of us differently, and this is a very good, clear example. Even though it wasn't, how you hear in the Bible about, oh, a still small voice, nonetheless, it was a very clear feeling and sort of urge to do a good thing. So if you have urges to do good things, it's probably from a good source. If you have urges to do bad things, probably not from a good source. So trust your instinct and trust your intuition, especially when it's encouraging you to help someone, even if it's a weird thing. I had a friend that knew someone that had felt a prompting to do a very unusual thing, just randomly in public, and she kind of didn't want to at first, but then she felt it again. So she did, and then someone came up and said, oh my gosh, that's an answer. You're an answer to my prayer, because I was just praying that, God, if you're real, show me a sign through someone. And it happened to be that random thing that she did. So you never know what impact you're going to have by following the prompting to help someone and be kind and do a good deed. A lot of times it can be a lot more helpful than you realize. It would have been helpful if someone just hadn't been able to get out to eat, but I think it holds even more weight when they were already in a troublesome situation that was causing them stress. So I encourage you to go into the world, be kind, helpful, and spread love as much as possible. And have a great week.